Hi and welcome to the first tutorial that I'm gonna be making for Source Filmmaker. These tutorials are not gonna be the typical UI or how to add models or any easy stuff. These are gonna be more like tips and tricks for creating mostly fnaf animations, but you can use them in any other animations that you want from any other games or movies or your own characters. The first episode will be about robotic movement. You can apply this to any robot that you want, but we're gonna be doing this on the fnaf robots. So I've got my basic scene set up. I got the character paused a little, and I guess we can start. So first of all, when you're making robotic movement, sometimes you want it to look very robotic. For example, when you have animatronics on stage, you don't want them to just simply move around like they're humans. You want them to move like they're robots, and to show that they are made of robotic material, like robotic joints and stuff. The way I do it is always starting with either pelvis or the spine. If the pelvis is not visible, we're gonna be starting with the spine. If the pelvis is visible, we're gonna be starting with the pelvis. You always want to start in this general area and then move away to his head, arms and legs. But generally you should start at pelvis and head and spine first. Right. First of all, we're gonna create some simple motions. For example, we're gonna add a keyframe of M, double tap space, and make him go into general direction. Then after a while, we're gonna do this again for a different direction. And we're gonna do this for just a few movements. Right. Now as you can see, this doesn't look good, looks quite terrible. But there are ways to make this better. For starters, we're gonna delete everything I just did. And after we create the movement, we're gonna quickly double tap space again, move the character a little back to where he started, double space again, and move him to the position where we want him to be. That will create the illusion of him jolting back and forth. I'm gonna do this for every single motion that he makes. After that, we've got a pretty simple movement. It's still not perfect, but we're gonna fix it at the end. Now, after this is done, we're gonna move into his neck. You always wanna start animating the rest of the parts a little after the other parts started moving, so they're not symmetrical, as nothing in life is perfectly symmetrical, and if you make it symmetrical, it is gonna look weird. Now, if your spine is going to the right, you should genuinely move the neck to the left. At least that's what I always do. And the same for the other movement. We're trying to keep the head still while the body is moving, but not too much, obviously. That's looking a bit better, but still not looking very good. Now with the head. The head you can move to any general direction you want the character to look at, but always start it after the neck. If you feel that he's jolting a bit slow or too fast, you can always manually move the keyframes. There isn't a general rule that it has to be a quick double tap of space. There we go, now we've got the character somewhat moving. Let's animate his arms now. We're gonna right click, go into rotation mode and select local, so that we can move 2 bones at a time without having to do them all manually. And we're gonna complete the same process as we just did for rest of the things, for the rest of his bones. Now the mouth, we're gonna do the exact same way. Right, after we've got the general movement of the character that's looking still a bit wonky, we can see that he's, for some reason, moving whilst we don't want him to move. To fix that, we'll simply select the entire character, right click on the timeline, select all, and we click this button. So make sure that he only moves when we want him to move. You can of course make this better, but this is just an example. For the eyes generally should move only a little. You should double space and always make him look where the head is looking. Although for the eyes, they should start looking to the opposite direction where he's going to look a few keyframes before he actually looks, so that the character looks like he's looking before he's turning. We're gonna around here he's looking down, so around here we're gonna make him look down, and then the head will move. Again, it's gonna be looking up over here, so over here we're gonna make him look up. I'm just gonna add some basic movement here to make it look more like it's robotic and not just changing directions on its own. We select all of the eye keyframes and we press this button. That'll make them look like he's snapping and not just casually moving them. It gives more of a robotic feeling. I'm gonna disable the eye glow. Oh, that's not it. Just move it out of the way for now. You can of course make this faster or slower, but the characters always should jolt a bit, so that it's not perfectly still. You can also do something with his eyelids. Make him blink a few times, so he's not very static. Where are the... Nope. Nope. Eyelid 1, eyelid 2. Nope. There we go. For the eyelid movement, you should generally do it between any big swaps. So as you can see here he is just snapping to the left, and that's where we want to put the eyelids closing. So we add a keyframe, we go back, add another keyframe, go back to the normal keyframe, add around 3 keyframes, close the eyelids, click 3 times, click M, click 3 times again, open them and add another keyframe. Then select them all, click this button, and his eyelids will nicely close. And we're gonna do it for every single time he has a big eye movement. And then select all of them, click this again. Oops. You can see his eyelids are slowly closing, so to fix that we're gonna go to the very first keyframe we created. We're gonna click Ctrl C, go to the back keyframe, and Control V. I'm gonna go for the back keyframes or for every single one of these. And now his eyelids don't move, except when we want them to move. Now, the same rule will also apply to, for example, masks of sister location characters. Most of the time, when you try to move the faceplates, you probably end up with something like this. Let me just quickly... That's not the right bone. If you do it this way, then that's not really robotic. It's just opening and nothing is really happening. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the exact same way we did for Freddy, except we're gonna do it with his faceplate. So we're gonna open it and then quickly double space. That'll create the illusion of it jolting back and forth. We're gonna do it for the other one. We're gonna do it for the lower ones. That's already looking better. We're gonna select them all and press this button again. But they all open at the same time. That shouldn't happen. That will look too symmetrical. So what we can do is we can select one of the faceplates, select all and move it for around 2 keyframes. Then you can select another faceplate, move it back a keyframe, and another faceplate and move it 1 keyframe forward. That will create the illusion that it's not really symmetrical. Then to close it, we're gonna do it the exact same way, but the other way around. We're gonna select the faceplate, select the first keyframe, copy it, double space, Control V, jolt back, double space, and Control V. And that's gonna create the illusion of it closing, although I think it's a bit too slow, so we're gonna make it a bit quicker. There you go, that's better. We're gonna select the other one, wait for around 3 keyframes. Select the first one, copy, paste, jolt back, Control V, select the other faceplate, copy, wait couple keyframes, and the final one. Select them all and click this. Now it's gonna open and close like a robotic mask should.